All right, guys, we've got a bunch of Nintendo Switch and RPG news to go over, so let's go ahead and jump right into it. And we're starting off with something that was a bit unexpected, or maybe it was expected for many people out there when it comes to The Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom. Now, the ESRB rating for this game has popped up online because it is dropping pretty soon here on September 26th. And in this ESRB rating, we have found out that Link should be a playable character at some point in this game. Now, in this rating description, it says all the normal stuff that you would expect in this type of title, but there was one little bit of information that Nintendo definitely did not go over yet when it comes to The Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom. Now, let's go ahead and read off this rating summary, and it says, this is an adventure game in which players assume the role of Zelda as she attempts to dispel rifts throughout Hyrule and rescue Link. From a 3/4 overhead perspective, players explore various environments while fighting stylized enemies, for example, humans and creatures. As Link, players use a sword and arrows to defeat enemies. I'm going to repeat that one more time. As Link, players use a sword and arrows to defeat enemies. Zelda can use a magic wand to summon creatures, wind-up knights, pig soldiers, slime for battle. Some enemies can be defeated by being set on fire. Other creatures dissolve into mist when defeated. Battle sequences are somewhat frenetic, with several enemies attacking/fighting at once. So clearly right there, you can see that. Now, on a recent live stream of mine, we actually theorized what this could actually be. So could it be that opening segment and that's all you get? Could it be going back and forth between Princess Zelda and Link, depending on where you are in the story? And I'm more leaning towards that. Now, there were some even crazier ideas that it was kind of like a dark world for like Legend of Zelda Link to the Past, that game where you can switch between the two. You can play as Link and go through the different like dark world or underneath the rifts and all that. But then you can also switch and play as Princess Zelda on the top or in the normal overworld, which I think maybe that might be the case. There might be some things like that, but I don't know if it's going to be as dynamic as going back and forth or switching on the fly. But I do feel that Link is going to play a bigger role than Nintendo has let on so far at this point, because I don't think it's just going to be that first segment. I think there's going to be other segments where you play as Link in the rifts trying to make your way out, where you have to maybe even get certain items and get your sword back and get certain things so you can try to crawl out of there. And at some point, maybe we even have a showdown between Princess Zelda and Link, and Princess Zelda actually has to save Link from being possessed. I think that could absolutely be a thing in the game. So The Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom has a lot of secrets that Nintendo still has not let us know about. Now, I would guess since we have no big first-party games in August, Nintendo will probably start giving us a bit more information at the end of August and early September, leading into the launch at the end of September. So we're going to be gearing up for that. But I'm looking forward to The Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom. Now, I'm not the biggest fan of The Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening. I played it and I thought it was cool and everything was fine with the game. But obviously some of the frame rate and some of the stuff with that, I hope that gets smoothed out with this game, because I do feel that that was just one of the things that kind of was like, with the game on the Nintendo Switch with Link's Awakening. But with Echoes of Wisdom, they got a whole new gameplay system in here. It's definitely a new game with a lot of stuff being added in. So I'm looking forward to seeing what they do in The Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom. But before we get into the next topic here, guys, please make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if you are someone new, and click that notification bell to get my Nintendo Switch and RPG videos first. Now let's go ahead and jump into the next topic, and we're discussing Metroid Prime 4 Beyond. We got to talk about this anytime that we get the opportunity, whatever bits of information comes out. Now, the Metroid Prime 4 Beyond artist has talked about the HUD design and the UI, which I praised in my videos talking about Metroid Prime 4. Now, shout outs to My Nintendo News for the roundup on this one. So Retro Studios' John Wolford has opened up about his work on Metroid Prime 4 Beyond in an X post recently. A lead UI artist for the game, Wilford, has also worked on Metroid Prime Remastered, as well as BioWare's Anthem and Star Wars The Old Republic. So this guy's got some hits under his belt. So on Twitter, he said this: Metroid Prime 4 has been a dream project, and my favorite part has been designing, crafting, and animating Samus's HUD. I learned a lot during MPR, Metroid Prime Remake, and I hope it shows. Check out my art station for a deeper dive. So this is super cool because one of the great things about Metroid Prime 4 Beyond is that nice UI design. And one of the best things about Metroid Prime in general has been the visor and the UI and the HUD and how they actually do things in the game. So I do think that it's pretty cool. Now, he went in depth about this when it comes to it, what they're doing with the HUD and how it was a labor of love, and that how they're wizards at Retro Studios and all the amazing VFX and environmental art and the character art. There's just so much stuff. So if you want to hear more about it, you can check it out. But one of the coolest things about this to me is that when it comes to Metroid Prime, you've got to make sure that you nail that HUD design. But what I do like is they actually zoom things out a little bit, it seems, because you can see more of Samus's beam cannon than you could in Metroid Prime 1, Metroid Prime 2, Metroid Prime 3. And I like that. It seems like you got a bit more of a FOV, field of view, and you can see a bit more, and it's not going to be as claustrophobic as what it was in previous Metroid games. For people like myself, I get motion sickness with first-person games, and I'm thinking that with a nice and good UI and HUD design, with it zoomed out just a bit more, it's going to help me to where I don't have to stop every 15 to 20 minutes, and now it'll probably be like every maybe 40 minutes or so. I might start feeling a little bit sick or not, but I'm hoping that it doesn't happen at all, but I'm pretty sure it will. But either way, anything they can do to improve the HUD design and improve what they're going with the animation and the effects and the UI is always much appreciated, because those guys at Retro Studios, they do a great job. And Metroid Prime 4 has been a game that they've been working on for quite some time, pretty much the whole Switch generation since it was restarted in 2018/2019. So this is great to see. The UI looks awesome in this game, and I cannot wait to get my hands on Metroid Prime 4. So what do you guys think about what Mr. John W had to say here? Let me know in the comment section. And what do you think about Metroid Prime 4's UI and HUD design? Now, next up, we're going to talk about something that's a little bit upsetting for all of my platformer fans out there, because Crash 4's character designer has implied that Crash 5 has been canceled. I'm not sure how this can happen after selling 20 million copies of Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy and 5 million copies of Crash 4, that somehow they think that canceling Crash 5 is a good idea. But before we overreact to everything, let's get into the topic, and then we can overreact afterwards. Now, according to Nicholas Cole, who is a character designer and illustrator that worked on Crash Bandicoot 4, It's About Time, he's revealed on social media that, quote, someday folks will hear about the Crash 5 that never was, and it's gonna break hearts. And it's very unfortunate, and I'm pretty sure that was the issue that people had in general when it comes to just Activision just having the Crash license and just them owning it, and then going over to Microsoft. We weren't sure exactly how things would go, because it's corporate, because it's Crash Bandicoot. It doesn't matter to them. They're always going to be chasing the next Call of Duty, the next type of big major AAA IP shooter or something else. And the developers that make this type of game, usually it's passion, but for them, at least in corporate, they feel that it's just not good enough. It's not a type of game that's persistent online world, that's constantly racked with DLC that you can monetize in that way. We saw with the Crash multiplayer game that didn't do well. So when projects like that don't do well, And when you have a game like Crash Bandicoot 4 that does 5 million, but if it was something else where it was a live service or if it was something different, it could have made way more money and potentially sell even better and have players engage where they're constantly playing the game. That's what it's went to at this point for Activision, for Microsoft. It's all about the numbers. It's all about the engagement. It's all about that. Even if you have a game that sells 5 million. Oh, well, some of those were at discounted prices. Oh, well, people aren't playing the game anymore and not talking about it. So it's not making us consistent money. And that's why, in my opinion, if Crash 5 was canceled like Nicholas is saying it is, that's the reason why it was. But it's going to break our hearts because what they had planned for Crash 5 was probably going to be incredible. And I don't know where the Crash series goes from here. I think maybe one of these days they'll do something with it. We saw what happened with Toys for Bob. We know what's going on with Microsoft. I don't think Microsoft cares too much about the Crash Bandicoot IP. And we saw what happened with Hi-Fi Rush, you know, when it comes down to it. Even when they say something is a success, it's not. It does not save your studios. It's one of those things to where I'm already upset right now about it. Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy was awesome. Loved it. Crash Bandicoot 4 is awesome. On my top platformers of all time list, I have Crash games all throughout. So it's one of those things that's just upsetting as a gamer, but you kind of saw it coming, right? You kind of saw it coming with how a lot of these companies like to operate and where single players going the way of the dodo and they just want to make everything about persistent online worlds and microtransactions and ultimate team and stuff like that. Call of Duty, you know, all of that type of stuff, you know, free to play, but then monetize in that way. So it is what it is. But hey, what can you do? You just gotta play something like Astrobot or something like that, or play Nintendo's platformers out there. But yeah, that's unfortunate. Crash is an icon in this industry, but I don't think Crash is done. Just because this was an L here, that doesn't mean the war is lost when it comes to Crash Bandicoot. He's gonna return at some point. In the meantime, we can enjoy Insane Trilogy and we can enjoy Crash 4 in the older games. So what do you guys think about that? You can let me know, but let's move on to a little bit more, I would say, better news or happier news. Octopath Traveler 6th anniversary. This is the game that started the HD 2D classic style revolution, somewhat mini modern revolution with the traditional JRPGs right here. So it is the 6th anniversary of this awesome game, and we've got some brand new art that you can see right here. So to celebrate the occasion of this, designer Yoshio Watanabe has produced some awesome special artwork, of course inspired by Octopath Traveler's 2 latest update, which brought an extra battle mode and some challenging post-game battles against the original cast. So that's pretty dope. I do like that. So here's what he had to say on Twitter about it. Octopath Traveler 6th anniversary. The commemorative illustration was created by designer Yoshio Watanabe. A free update is currently available for Octopath Traveler 2, which allows you to battle the main characters from Octopath Traveler 1. Maybe Ulberich and the others look something like this. If you haven't already, be sure to check it out. Yeah, man, that's awesome. It was a good crossover, and it's great to see that type of collaboration between these two games, even though you can play them independently. And I cannot wait to see the future of Octopath Traveler. I think Octopath Traveler 3 is not going to be the typical, okay, just the next thing. I think they're going to do some major changes, but I'm guessing that Octopath Traveler 3 will be a Nintendo Switch 2 focused game. Now, don't get me wrong, they might put it on PlayStation and Xbox and all that, but clearly with Octopath Traveler having that at Nintendo show, that extra little bump that it got since it was an exclusive and Nintendo was involved in publishing for some areas and all that, it basically boosted it way higher than what the franchise is probably capable of not getting that. But once again, we're gonna have to wait and see, but I would expect Octopath Traveler 3 to be a Nintendo Switch 2 game and be like announced at a Nintendo Direct at some point. Maybe even a tease at their first big reveal for it. I think that Octopath Traveler 1 got such a huge boost from a marketing perspective, being one of the first core JRPGs announced for the Nintendo Switch back in 2017 and then the lead up to the launch in 2018. So I would expect Square Enix might take the same strategy there. Now, they do have a multi-platform thing that they're doing, so that might not be the case. It might just be, okay, we're going to do it for everything, which eventually would probably come to everything, just like Octopath Traveler 1. But something tells me they might want to revert back to that based off of what happened between the sales of Octopath Traveler 1 and Octopath Traveler 2 and getting that extra Nintendo promotion. But once again, we're going to have to wait and see. I'm not saying that's definitively happening, nor am I saying that's better overall. I want as many people to play the game as possible. I'm just thinking based off of Octopath Traveler 1 selling 3 million units plus and selling a majority of those on the Nintendo Switch compared to Octopath Traveler 2 selling 1 million units plus, which is still very good, and it launched in a much more crowded area. I think they might try to emulate that with the Nintendo Switch 2 launch and being one of the first out of the gate with a big new JRPG. So what do you guys think about Octopath Traveler's 6th anniversary and what potentially they could be doing for Octopath Traveler 3? Let me know in the comment section. So that's going to wrap it up for today's Nintendo Switch and RPG news. What did you think? What do you guys want me to cover in the future? What was your favorite topics of this video? Let me know in the comment section below. All right, guys, that wraps it up for this video here. Thank you so much for watching. I do appreciate it. Please make sure you hit that like button. Subscribe if you are someone new. Click that notification bell and check out my other Nintendo Switch and RPG videos right here on screen. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll catch you for the next one. Peace out.